Okay, let's slide to the edge of the chair.
Okay.
And feel the sitting bones right at the edge. And today we're going to do a very simple class, very easy. So we're just not going to roll the pelvis back and bring it back up. We're going to roll the pelvis back and we'll stack it back up. Just back and forth. We're going to exhale as we go, roll the hip, and we're going to inhale as we come back. So exhale and roll the hip, inhale and come back. Roll and come back. Next time that we're going to roll back, we're going to lift the right heel off the ground and come back. And as we roll, the heel comes up. Notice if the heel comes straight up or it has like a little rotation inwards. Exhaling, going back. Inhaling, heel goes down to the floor. Can you feel the lifting of the heel and the pressing the heel back, feeling the contact of the heel to the ground? And going back. And let's change and do the other heel. Rolling back and lifting the heel and coming up. And bring the heel down, placing it gently. And rolling, the heel goes up. Exhaling, coming back, heel comes down. And back and up. And back and up. And roll and up and roll and come back to center and just kind of observe for a second, because next time we're going to lift the foot off the ground as we roll. So we're going to roll and we're going to allow the whole foot to come and then placing it down. And we are ungluing the foot from the ground and we are gluing it from toes to heel back down. And coming up and going down. And rolling and lifting and coming back. And rolling and lifting. So we're not lifting the leg high, we're just ungluing the foot from the ground and we're putting it very gently. We're trying to separate the heel, the middle of the foot and the toes, the middle foot and the heel. And rolling and coming back down. Let's do the other leg. And rolling and lifting. Is this foot responding in the same way that the other foot responded? Mine seems like a little stupider on this side. What is you doing? Is the ankle moving? Are you able to slowly put it down? Toes, middle of the foot and heel. And rolling. And coming back. And let's do it one more time. Rolling. And coming back. Good. Stay in the center for a minute. Just see how it feels. Go ahead and put both hands on the outside and inside of the right leg. And we're going to roll and we're going to lift the leg a little bit higher so the knee and the head are going towards one another. Now notice, I'm not doing an exercise. I'm not trying to reach. I'm just trying to find out how my rolling on the pelvis and softening the lower back allows the leg to come up and allows the head to come down. But I'm not forcing it. Let's try to force it just for once so you can feel the difference. Try to reach. Yeah, great, I did it, but there's a lot of contraction and a lot of squeezing. So let's go back into just rolling the hip, lengthening the lower back, and coming back. Putting the toes, the middle foot, and the heel. And the heel comes up, the middle of the foot, the toes, the hip rolls, the lower back lengthens, and coming back down, toe, middle, heel. And find your own rhythm that feels good to you. And remember, it's not about how far you go. So now I'm a little bit more flexible. My hands are already wrapping underneath. See if you feel good just having it on the side, or you can already wrap it underneath and roll to lift and lower the head and open up, coming back to center. How does it work for you? Where do you need to put your hands? Can you work with the foot, the leg, the hips, the middle of the back, the head, the neck, all at the same time? Can you find the coordination? And exhale. There is no effort in the hands, they are just guiding. Good, let's rest. All right, hands on the side, and we're gonna roll. Start small, tentative, find out how you do what you do. Just remember to exhale as you go back. And just a reminder that it's the toes, the middle, and the heel, and the heel, the middle of the toes. And this way you're working from bottom to top. So we are lengthening the space between the vertebrae as we go back. And we're trying to round the whole back, from the hip to the lower back, to the middle of the back, to the in between the shoulder blades, to the neck and head, and then coming back. And notice if you have this need to push a little bit further. And notice it. And if you do, then try to let it go and just find out what is the real movement in the body that's in full coordination without pushing for a little bit further. I know I always want to do a little bit more. Okay, let's drop it and sit on the edge of the chair. And now, instead of rolling the hip back, we're going to take the hip forward. Notice that there's more weight on your feet. And notice if your belly is hanging or is it tight, and come back. And again, we're going to come up and forward. And see if you can sense a stretching, a tiny little stretching in the abdomen, like you're zipping up. And then bring the hip back to vertical. And again, lift it up and tilt it forward. Try not to crunch your toes, keep the toes flat, but feel how there's more weight on the toes. And come back. Next time we're going to do it, we're going to allow the weight to slide towards the toes. We're going to come up towards the belly button, and we're going to continue into the chest. And lift your chest. And now the vertebrae in the back are shortening. and the opening and the lengthening is in the front. And lower the head and relax the sternum and bring the hip back to vertical. And again, lift, tilt the pelvis forward and allow the chest to open and lift, and maybe even your eyes will go up into the corner of the room where the wall meets the ceiling. And come back. And lift and tilt and center and rest and lift and tilt, open, enjoy. Maybe your hands are supporting you on your thighs, and back into the center and relax. And we'll do it a few more times. Lift out of the hip, tilt the hip forward and lift the chest and look to the corner of the room and come back to the center. And we'll do it one more time. Lifting and forward with the hip and up high with the chest and back into the center. We're going to round backwards and we're going to take it immediately forward. We're going to round back, the head and the eyes go down towards your belly button, and as you tilt forward, the eyes go up towards the corner of the room. And tilt, back, and tilt, forward, and tilt, back, and tilt, forward. So we're moving through the center through vertical in continuous motion from the back to the front. You choose the tempo that's good for you, that feels like you're opening in the back and that you're opening in the front. Now start noticing what your shoulders are doing when you go back and what your shoulders are doing when you go forward. And see, even if it's a tiny little movement, maybe you can increase it just a little bit. So when you're back, the shoulders are going forward. And when you're tilting forward, the shoulders are going back. And when you go backwards, the shoulders are going forward in opposite. It's like you're closing in. And when you're tilting the hip forward, your shoulders are going back so the chest can open and lift and lift and lift and lift. And rounding. And opening. So the movement is from the base of your tailbone to the top of your head. Good. And come to the center. Take a deep breath. And exhale it. And take another deep breath.
Morning.
And exhale it. Go ahead and put your elbows on your thighs. Your elbows are on your thighs. And let's see how much we can move. So you're sitting on the edge of the chair, your feet are right underneath you, you're nice and strong, you're very stable. And we're going to do the same thing. Now you don't have the pelvis anymore to help you. So we're going to round. Don't move the elbows, please. And we're going to tilt forward. And look forward and up. And round. And Is the right side of your body works as evenly as the left? Can you feel differences between the right shoulder blades and the left shoulder blade? We're going to stay here for a little bit longer than usual. And each time try to go a little bit higher in the back, rounding a little bit lower in the back and a little higher in the back. Try to get a little bit more movement. So the hip is tilted forward, and in spite of that limitation, you're working, moving each vertebra, and you're trying to work with as many vertebrae as possible. Beautiful. And a little bit longer. Round your back, stay rounded. And now turn your head to the left and pick. And bring your head back down. Round your back a little bit more. Turn your head to the right and pick. And turn your head to the center. Round your back a little bit more. Turn your head and look to the left. Come back to center. Round your back a little bit more. Don't lift your elbows. Turn your head to the right. And now relax everything. And bring your back down and forward, and open your chest and look up. And relax, and slowly come back up, sitting completely up on the chair. And take a minute to feel, how does it feel in your back? Wonderful. Let's turn the hands inward so the elbows are going outward, and lean 45 degrees. So we're not going as low as we did a minute ago. Now we're going to bring the shoulder blades closer to one another. We're going to try to bring the shoulder blades over the spine, and we're going to open the elbows without moving the hands, and we're going to move the shoulder blades away from the spine as far as we can. And we're going to bring the elbows to the elbows are on this side. We're going to bring the shoulder blades in towards the spine and away from the spine. And in towards the spine and away from the spine. And in and out. So the back stays in 45 degrees. The head does not move. It's just the shoulder blades that's sliding over the ribs and sliding out over the ribs and sliding closer to the spine and out and relax. This is really hard, isn't it? Roll your shoulders a little bit. Roll your shoulders. Go ahead and bring your elbows up to shoulder height. And now slide the shoulder blade, the scapula, into the spine and out. And in, we're doing the same thing but now vertical, and out. And in and out. And in and out and drop the arms. Roll your shoulders. Good. Let's take our left hand and put it on the outside of the right leg. Bring the right arm to shoulder height, bend the elbow, and now we're going to turn the back and bring the shoulder blades closer to the spine. So now we have a rotation and the shoulder blade is touching my spine, and I'm looking up at the ceiling because of that rotation. Come back and relax. Go ahead and take your right arm and put it on the outside of your left leg. Bring the left arm to shoulder height, bend the elbow and rotate, sliding the shoulder blade to the spine and looking up at the ceiling. And come back and relax. Come back to center. Roll your spine back. Come back up. Roll your spine forward and back up. Is it easier now? Do you have more movement? Let's do it again. Let's take the right arm and put it on the outside of the right leg. Take the right arm to shoulder height, bend the elbow, start rotating and slide the shoulder blades towards the spine until your eyes are vertically on the ceiling above you. And when you're ready, come back and take your right arm and put it on the outside of the left. Bring your left arm to shoulder height, bend the elbow and start rotating, sliding the shoulder blade towards the spine until your eyes are right above you on the ceiling. And when you're ready, come back. Take a second to rest in the center. Roll your spine back. Notice how your eyes are going back. And come forward. Lifting the chest where it goes in towards the toes. And one more time. Going back. And come back to center. Let's take the left arm, crossing it and putting it on the outside of the right leg. Right arm up, elbow is bent, and rotate until your eyes are vertically and you're looking straight above yourself on the ceiling. And come back up. And take your right arm and put it on the outside of the left. Bring the left arm, bend the elbow, rotate. Try not to bend, not to lower the elbow and come back up. Sit in the center. Put your hands on your waist and slide your hands up on the ribs as far as you can go. And rotate now like this and see how much you can help with the ribs. Rotate the ribs and look up towards the ceiling and come back down. So now we're not doing it with the shoulder blades, but we're doing it with the ribs. Both of them need to move. And let's do with the ribs to the left. And come back up. And rotate. And come back to center. And let's rotate again to the left. And come back to center. And slide your hands down. And we're going to do one more time with the left over the right, with the right arm up, and now we're going to work with the ribs and the shoulder blades. So bend the elbow a little bit, start rotating, and allow the right ribs to move back and come back up. And take the right arm, put it on the outside of the left, bring the left arm to the shoulder, bend the elbow, and rotate back. And allow the left ribs to move backwards and the right ribs to move forward and come back up. Come to the center, roll your hips back, roll your hips forward. Come to the center. Bring your palms up and close your eyes for a minute. And just breathe. Sense your shoulders hanging. Sense the width of your back. Sense your breath going all the way into the ribs and into your belly and into your lower back. And with that, I thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.